Look Outreach is underwritten by the generous support of Munter Enterprises. Family owned and operated since 1972, integrity is important, as our family name is on every project. Our word is our bond. Munter Enterprises. Just build it.
Welcome back, everyone. Well, you know, when Chuck and I were wee lads, where'd I get that from? He knows everything.
Scotland.
He did. Okay.
Wee lad.
When we were wee lads, and we were listening to the Beatles and the Who and the Rolling Stones and Rod Stewart and Jeff Beck, Beach Boys too.
Yeah,
get the Beach Boys in there. Okay.
Chuck Berry.
Chuck Berry. Well, that's a little bit. That's even before my time.
Via California.
You didn't realize, if you fast forwarded to where we are today, how meaningful the music was, how groundbreaking it was, and what a part of popular culture it would become.
Yeah.
So you fast forward, and here's Chuck Vosganian, who's the founder and president of Rochmon Record Club, and myself, could sit for hours just talking about the impact that certain albums have had on culture, on people, on society, on politics, on the environment. And lo and behold, you know Chuck, he's been here many times, and we've got another Rochmon Record Club coming up. And it's an album that really fits into what I just said, doesn't it?
Absolutely, absolutely.
And the album is?
Rod Stewart's Every Picture Tells a Story.
Oh.
And people have asked me, you know, a good friend of mine asked me, why should I come see something about Rod Stewart? I'm not really a big fan. I said, well, you will be after this show, because the album is perfectly recorded. It's mainly an acoustic record, and he does stuff with his voice in we've talked about this earlier, the production, but the lack of effect. It's just the band playing live, and it's so good.
You know, I want to jump in here because if you live through that period of time, you realize that music really got lost in its own universe and creativity. Yeah. You had Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. You had Magical Mystery Tour. Psychedelia was in full bloom, right? It's just natural in any society. At one point, it goes 180.
Yeah.
And the lack of production that we're talking about here, with Every Picture Tells a Story, is the heart of why the production is so great.
Absolutely perfect.
It's like somebody said, is everybody ready? Hit record. Do you have a microphone? Oh, don't worry about it. He'll pick you up.
Yeah.
And off they go.
Yeah, off they go.
And when they go
hard.
They go hard.
Mickey Waller, the drummer, had played in Beck's the Jeff Beck group with Rod Stewart, and he is a bang and smash kind of guy. When you look at a picture, he looks like the little curly blonde-headed nerd that's hanging out with the band. It doesn't look like he'd be the drummer. You know, the drummer is usually the big guy, right, in the band, the muscular guy and the strong guy, always devilishly handsome, because of course I'm a drummer, and no ego there. But not Mickey Waller, man. He's he's the shortest guy in the band, and he's a little skinny little runt, and he is a banging smasher. And he comes into the album just on attack. The albums that he doesn't bang and smash on, the songs rather that he doesn't bang and smash on, it's sort of surprising. It's an interesting twist.
That's right.
That's not what you expect. He just hits them hard, man.
You know what Chuck is referring to there, of course, is that a lot of drummers all the time say, they're coming or whatever, or they're coming in the usual place. This guy is like he put his arms up in the air this high and came crashing down, and he doesn't always come right exactly on the
time.
beat.
Yeah.
Which is part of this sloppy, honest nature of the production of this record. The mix of songs is fantastic. You know about Maggie May? That was actually, I think, Rod Stewart's first number one
single.
Hit,
Yeah,
right?
Yep.
But you also had a cover of Dylan's song "Tomorrow Is a Long Time."
Yep.
Very interesting the way they wove this one together. They even did something that I know about from the Temptations. "I'm Losing You," right?
Yeah, I know "I'm Losing You."
And
great
with
song.
arguably, talking about drummers, one of the craziest drum solos that seems to go on forever, where everybody, you just get the feeling they're standing around waiting, I think I'll join in.
Yeah, and that's actually Kenny Jones. That "I Know I'm Losing You," Rod Stewart brings the Faces in, the whole band, for that one song. Yeah,
that's
which
great.
I sort of think may have meant that it was initially meant to be included on a Faces album,
right.
but there's no real information about that. For as much as we know about, for as much as you think Rod Stewart's this really famous guy and there should be a lot of information, there's not a lot of information about some of the reasons that some of the things were done. Even finding out where the album was recorded was really hard.
You know what? Also, this is self-produced. Rod Stewart produced it, not a producer. Obviously a singer and a musician. But another thing that you always want to talk about with this record, really two instruments. The mandolin, which didn't exist at all in any rock band, anywhere, for any reason, at any time, and steel, which really only existed in traditional country, and they're prominently featured.
Yes, absolutely. And actually, Raymond Jackson, you're not wrong, but the example is going to prove how right you are. Raymond Jackson was the mandolin player in a band called Lindisfarne.
Oh, yeah, that's
now, of course,
right.
We've never heard of the band Lindisfarne, which is a further example of how the mandolin really wasn't a rock and roll instrument.
That's right.
I mean, it was one of those things. It has become now Americana, and some of these some people like
REM,
and like Mellencamp have made these American instruments, these folk instruments, a little bit more. Not that the mandolin's an American instrument, but a folk instrument more common. And this, but as you say, at the time, unheard of.
Well, you know what? It was, again, part of that thing that was going on in society and culture and popular music to go back and tap the traditional sounds, the traditional music sounds, so that what you were going for was the inherent sound of the instrument instead of some incredible production from psychedelia. You know? So it all had a purpose.
And it wasn't all just. The mandolin wasn't there to just play chords. The mandolin took solos,
personality,
and there was a lot of counterpoint between the mandolin and the steel guitar. And Mandolin Wind is on this album. Maggie May, Reason to Believe, Tim Hardin, great Tim Hardin song. So there's a lot of meat here.
So we're going to have we got the Rochmon's next Tuesday.
6:30
at 6:30, Caffe Lena in Saratoga. And I can tell you right now, when Chuck and I first started talking about this, maybe 3 or 4 people would wander in because they thought that it was a church service. But it was a line around the block. Over 100, I think it was 119 people were clamoring to get in. So get there early. Next Tuesday, Caffe Lena, 6:30. Rod Stewart, Every Picture Tells a Story, narrated by our own personal rock historian, Chuck Vosganian. Great to see you, pal.
Always good to see you, Jesse. Good. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. See this interview again. If you want to, you can go to our website, looktvonline.com.